I'm your English teacher, Swati. I hope you all have done the previous class homework. Today also, we are going to see about a beautiful story. Let's move on to the class. And the name of the story is Keep Your Eyes Open. Once upon a time, there was a lion that grew so old that he was unable to kill any prey for his food. So he said to himself, I must do something or else I will die of starvation. He kept thinking, and at last an idea struck him. He decided to lie down inside the cave pretending to be ill. Those who came to inquire about his health would become his prey. He put his wicked plan into practice and it started working. Many of his well-wishers got killed. So, the first paragraph of the story says, when a lion grew older, he was suffering from starvation. What do you mean by starvation? Yes, lack of food. When he is suffering from this starvation, he started to think an idea. What was that idea? Yes, he started to think that if someone came to visit me to inquire about my illness, I can catch them and use it as my prey. What do you mean by prey? Do you heard about the word prey? Yes, prey means the animal hunt one animal to eat. That is prey. So he planned that if someone came to my cave, I can use that animal as my food. And he started to kill the animals who came to visit him. But evil is not short-lived. One day, a clever fox came to visit Lion. He stood at the mouth of the cave. He looked around and understood the reality. So he called out of the lion from outside and asked, How are you, sir? So, one day what happened? A clever fox. What do you mean by clever? Yes, a brave fox or a wise fox came to know about lion's illness. And he understood what's going on there. And he came at the mouth of the cave and he asked to the lion that, How are you, sir? The lion replied, I am not feeling well. Why don't you come inside? So, this fox came only near to mouth of the cave. Then he asked, How are you, sir? Then lion asked him, Why are you not come inside my cave? Then the fox replied, I would love to come inside, but I see all the footprints as going into your cave, but none is coming out. I would be foolish enough to come in. Saying so, the fox went to the alert to other animals. He said to the lion that, Sir, I understood what is going on here. Don't make me foolish. I understood those animals who came inside your cave, they never returned back to your home. Don't foolish me again. By saying this, the fox went near to other animals to pass this information to help them. I hope you understand the story. Yes, we all of us heard this story earlier. So, now what we are going to do means, we are going to compare the difference between the fables and stories. Yes, both of them have the similarities. Fables also contain moral and story also contain morals. Even though there are the similar differences between fables and stories. As I already mentioned in the previous class, fable is a short one which have only one paragraph. Okay? And what's the difference of the story? The story begins with once upon a time or one day or years ago. Isn't it? Am I right? Yes. So, the stories that always contain a beginning. And the second one, which have development. The development means, what do you mean by the development? Development, which means after the beginning, once upon a time, there is the starting of development of that story. The development is like that old lion thought that those animals came to visit him. I want to make us my prey. That is the development of the story. And the next one is something happening. There are lots of things happened in this story, no? What are they? Yes, one day the clever fox came to visit this lion. Am I right? Yes. Next one is the ending of the story. What is the ending of the story? While calling this lion to fox inside the cave, what was his reply? No sir, I am not coming. After that, we have conclusion. Conclusion means summary. Okay, the conclusion is that this fox said to lion, I will inform these things to other animals in this forest. That is the conclusion. So, a story have one beginning, one development, and something happen, and the end, and also a conclusion. This story also provide a moral to us. Then the difference between the fables and story is, fables is short one and which contain a moral, and in each of fable I mentioned that this is tell orally. The stories and fables are also passed to generations. Isn't it? Yes. So, I hope you understood the difference between the fables and stories. Let's see the activities. How you can begin a story. We already read a story, Keep Your Eyes Open. Apart from Once Upon a Time, here you have some headings. So how can you start the story? Okay, let's see the activities. How our story Keep Your Eyes Open. Yes, our story begins with Once Upon a Time. In your textbook, you have a lots of beginnings. Let's see the beginnings. On the 20th of May, in the evening, on the far side of the green trees, it was a very hot day. One fine day, long ago, there was a desert wind blowing that night. Here you have 6 beginnings in your textbook. The first question is, which one is more interesting to you? You can write any of this from the 6th one. And the second one is, read a few folk tales and fables and make the collections of the beginning of stories. The previous class I mentioned about the Panchatantra stories, no? You can go through that stories that have a lots of stories. From that story, you can pick up new beginning of the story. Sometimes, each and every story may be start from different beginnings. So, you want to read that stories and you want to collect the beginning of the stories. And the next one, you can collect the beginning of other stories and you can write it in a chart paper. Will you do that? Yes. Next one, try to write a few beginning of stories. So, you want to write the beginning of stories. For example, Once Upon a Time, One Day, a fine day or a rainy day. Like that, you can begin the stories. I hope you understand the first activity, no? The second activity is, now let's examine the ending of the story. Can you think of a different ending to the story? Here are 2 different endings. Add a few more ending in the space provided. In our story, Keep Your Eyes Open. What was the ending of the story? At the end of the story, what happened? The fox ran to the forest to inform about lions' trick to other animals. So, this activity, if he is not informed to other animals, what will be the end? So, you want to write the endings. The first one, the fox and the other animals lived happily ever after. So, after informing about lion's trick, this fox and other animals lived there happily. If he did not inform to other animals, what will happen? Sometimes other animal also goes to lion's cave and they become prey for him. Like that, you want to write 4 endings too. Will you do this? Yes. And the third one, there you have some questions. First of all, you want to find out the answer for that question and you want to frame a story. Here you have some questions. A very simple question is that. So you can pick up any answer from that bracket. Using these answers, you want to create your own story. Will you do that? Yes. The fourth activity is also followed by the third activity. Using the points in the third activity, you want to write a story. Activity 4 is followed by the third activity. In third activity, you find out the answer for the given questions. Using that hints, you want to frame a story. They were given the beginning here. Once upon a time, there was a king and queen. Apart from that, you want to write the full story. Let's see the fifth activity. There, you want to create a story. You have some jumbled sentences there. First, you want to rearrange or rewrite these jumbled sentences. Using that sentence, you want to write a story. A big bad wolf saw the first and second pigs and decided to make a meal of them. Now, the 2 little pigs were terrified and they ran to the third pig's house. Even though the pig tried to hide in their house, the wolf blew it down in a minute. The wolf tried to huff and puff the house down, but he could not and he died in the attempt. The third pig worked hard all day and built his house strong with their bricks. The third and the second pigs were lazy and they built their houses very quickly with straw. Then you have the jumbled sentences here. You want to rewrite this. Which one will come first? Like that, we want to find out from this. Okay? I think you all were heard the stories. So, I hope you will write this. Let's move on to the sixth activity. This also, you want to write a story. The first part of the story is given. After that, you want to write your own words. Here, you can see a crow and a fox. The story is go through them. So, you want to complete this. One morning, a fox was walking through the woods. He was looking for something tasty to eat. Soon his nose picked up a scent of something very sweet. He stood still and sniffed the air. The fox did not have to wait long to find out what it was. The crow was sitting on a branch high up in a tree, and its beak was the biggest piece of cheese he had ever seen. So, let's move on to the seventh activity. Do you like to watch cartoons? Yes, all of us like to watch cartoons, no? Here, you have some cartoons regarding lion, and there is some space provided. So, what do you want to do? You want to write or build up a story using that cartoon. Will you do that? Yes. I hope you understood today's homework. You want to submit this homework to your teacher. That's all about today's class. See you on next day. Wish you a good day.